I know some days are harder than others, and you might feel like you're drowning in worries, insecurities, and fears. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways to shift your focus onto God in the midst of life's difficulties so you can experience His fullness and His freedom. And stay till the end because I'm going to be giving you my best tip on how to embrace God's fullness every day, no matter how overwhelming the struggle you're facing is. I'm Alana Palm, Christian trauma release and mind renewal specialist, and I help you release trauma, renew your mind, and rest in God. And today I'm going to help you experience God's fullness so you are always filled with Him and not the overwhelm of life's pain and struggle. First, I want you to remember that God is bigger than any storm we face, right? Often when we go through a storm, we kind of get consumed with the feelings that we're experiencing. We're going through a lot, right? A lot of stuff comes up for us. God doesn't promise us an easy journey, but He does promise to be with us every step of the way. We know that in this world we will have trouble, we will have trials and tribulations. So I want you to think about, how do you experience the fullness of Christ even in the midst of those difficulties? And it might seem like a bit of a heavy topic, right? But in essence, when we experience His fullness, when we really sit in that existence with Him, we are living a life where Jesus is the center of everything we do. He's the center of everything we think and everything we feel. When we live in His fullness, we start to see our problems through a different perspective, through a different lens, right? Because when we're in the pain, when we're in the struggle, we often see this through a lens of like darkness almost, like it's so hard, it's so dark, right? When we experience His fullness, we start to see our problems through a spiritual lens. And when we do that, we can see that there's something else going on. There's something else at play, that it isn't just about our pain, that there's something that God is doing in the pain. And then when we have that different perspective, it doesn't seem so overwhelming because we literally pull ourselves out of it and see it from a different point of view. I want you to imagine being wrapped up in an all-encompassing cloak of love, peace, and tranquility. Like that you have everything you need from God, you have all of His love, all of His peace, and you're fully resting in this place, almost like you're in a womb and you've got everything you need coming in. That's what it feels like to live at rest with the Lord and in His fullness, right? You don't have any fears and worries and pain, right? Now, you will have those things, but spiritually, you don't. It's like you almost separate out your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, and where all of this pain lives, right? You're feeling these feelings, you're thinking these thoughts, you're taking these actions, and there's like this driving force inside of you. And then there's His spirit, which is very separate. And so basically what it is about like almost trading in the heavy load of what you're carrying in your soul and giving it over to Him, because his yoke is easy, His burden is light. So it's taking all of the things you're experiencing and saying, you know what, through you, Lord, I don't need to experience this pain. I can rise above the pain with your spirit, and the pain can literally be under my feet. I can see it from an outside view instead of being in it, right? So I want you to take a moment to almost be an observer of your pain, right? And experience it from a spiritual view. So imagine like pulling yourself out of the pain, out of the heartache, out of those negative thoughts, and looking at them from God's perspective. Right? Looking at them from a spiritual view of love, of peace, of everything that you need, right? To be in that place of calm and even compassion for yourself, right? And be curious about what you're experiencing and how that's all playing out inside you. But look at it from His view. Look at it from a place of the fullness you have in Him as almost like an outsider looking in. So this journey begins with surrender, right? We need to let go of some of the things that we are holding onto very tightly, our anxieties, our insecurities, and we get to surrender them to God. We get to trust that He has a plan for us, even if we can't see it. And this is hard because we want things to work out a certain way. We have a vision, we want it to happen, right? Lots of people in the Bible had a vision too, and it took a long time before the vision was realized. And sometimes, like Joseph trusted God in the vision, Abraham and Sarah took things into their own hands, right? They didn't fully trust God. So for you, you get to trust that God has a plan for you, even if you can't see it yet, even if it's not showing up in your life the way that you might want it to. Believing God is good. Faith is not about having a clear future and seeing it play out a certain way. It's about knowing who holds your future, that he holds that in the palm of his hands, and trusting that. I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to just close your eyes if you're able and visualize handing over your burdens to Christ. I want you to just imagine letting them go and handing them over to him. And as you hand them over to him, just notice what he does with them. Maybe his love covers them. Maybe his peace calms them, calms your heart, calms that pain, those burdens. And just imagine yourself for a moment giving them over to him and feel that feeling of letting go. What does that feel like in your body? What does it feel like in your mind and your heart? And this is the beginning of experiencing that fullness of Christ. And it doesn't mean that life will be easy. It just shows you that even when it's hard, that he will carry your burdens, right? Give them over to him. See what he does with them. There will be challenges in your life, and you're not alone, right? He is walking with you every step of the way. You're never alone. And that's where we're going to end today. And I want to just tell you one more thing when it is all about really embracing this life of fullness with him. I've given you some things that you can do and some things you can focus on. Ultimately, this comes down to resting in him, believing in his character, that he is who he says he is, believing you are who he says you are, believing his promises, his protection, his provision, his goodness, like believing him. And so if you are noticing that maybe there's an area in your life where you don't fully believe God, maybe you feel like he hasn't come through for you, there's something stopping you, I just want you to take some time and pray about that. God, help my unbelief, right? It's so powerful, that prayer. So I hope this message was really supportive for you. I hope it gave you an idea of how you can live in the fullness of Christ. And if you think that this video would be really useful for someone else in your life, please share it. Also like and subscribe. And we put out videos every week to help you renew your mind, release the pain that you've held on to, and rest in God. So God bless you, and I'll see you soon.